What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Reacting In-Depth Analysis. I'm your host, Wolfson. As always, if you guys listening to my podcast, be always sure to like and subscribe my channel at The Lone Wolf Podcast. That's right, guys. I finally have my own fucking custom URL. I know, guys. It's time. We finally made it over to 100 something subscribers. Don't worry, guys. I haven't forgot about my promises. We will do some sort of a feedback live stream sometime in the future, okay, guys? But in the meantime, right now, we got something to discuss about. And this is something that we need to dress about because as many of you know, but right about now, there was an incident that happened not too long ago in the past weekend. At the time that I'm recording this, something very, very tragic happened on a festival. And it has to be on a music festival, of course, you know, and this is the type of stuff that we need to address it here in the podcast. So, because this is all about what the podcast is all about, you know, we need to discuss some of the issues that's currently happening in the music industry, and as well, the music festivals is right around our industry as our corner. So we need to talk about this sort of stuff, and it so happened that it has to be the Travis Scott Astroworld Music Festival. If that's what it's called. If somebody can correct me, but you know, anyways, that past week, and unfortunately, it has come to the attention that at least 8 confirmed victims have passed away. That's right, guys. It's very unfortunate to hear such tragic news. They die over injuries, suffocation, OD, like overdose, like it's wild. Like there's a lot of things that's happening, and it's just 8 confirmed up so far and right now. There's like plenty of more cases in which they were injured, you know. Now, you guys are probably wondering, okay, why are we not discussing this as a regular episode? Well, it's because I'm going to actually react to some of the reports because I don't have all the information all at once at me, you know. Like it was too much of me to handle. I have too much on my plate to be doing. So I'm going to be reacting and analyzing some of the stuff that's happening from other people's content creators like Adam22 from the No Jumper podcast, and of course Abba and Preach. Shout out to those 2 pages for them to bring their perspectives out of it. Now I'm gonna react and say my side of the story before I even go out there and say like this is what I thought. I want to hear what other people's perspective are about it, and I want to hear their point of views because it's 2 different worlds, but I like these 2 pages because they're very unbiased about it, and sometimes they bring a very good fresh perspective about the situation, especially one that surrounds the music industry. Now, the reasons I select these 2, a part of what I already said earlier, each then might actually bring some yes and no's about it. So we're gonna actually react to their content and their point of views around it. So, and we're gonna listen to it. This is fair use, everyone, for everybody who wants to know. Like, and if you guys want to see the full videos of these people, please check out their channel at No Jumper with Adam22 and Abba and Preach at their YouTube channel, Abba and Preach. You know, this is their full videos. So we're just gonna get into it because I already have my thoughts more or less about the situation of Astroworld. I've already heard some things here and there, but I'm gonna hear from their perspective. I'm gonna hear the story, and the cool thing about their videos is that they actually cover the whole thing like a short narrative of what really happened. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in it. Let's just go and play with first one with No Jumper on No Jumper News from Adam22. Let's go.
So a surging crowd incident at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival on Friday night in Houston led to the death of 8 attendees and left many others injured. Now a criminal investigation is underway. As of Monday, several concert goers have filed lawsuits alleging that Travis Scott, concert promoter Live Nation, organizer Score More, and others involved with the event were responsible for the deadly crowd surge. Injury attorney Sean Roberts submitted 7 cases for various clients. Attorney Ben Crump, who repped the family of George Floyd, has also stated that he is representing Astroworld attendees. Documents in the case are pretty much identical. Each lawsuit claims both Travis and Live Nation failed to provide adequate security and a security plan to protect attendees. and conditions at Astroworld Festival, causing several stampedes and a crowd compression that led to the 8 deaths and hundreds of injuries. The attorney behind these lawsuits, Sean Roberts,
hold on. Look at this. Let me see if there's another view for it. Look at this, guys. That's insane. And as I'm saying that this is like crazy to see this, it is not crazy for me to believe that it happened. Like, it's not surprising at all. You guys are thinking like, what do you mean? This is not, I've never seen anything like this. I was like, maybe you haven't, but I have. There was an incident that did similar to that happened a few years ago at Ultra Music Festival here in Miami. And it went something like crazy like that. Like a security guard was trying to hold the fort and she couldn't hold it because of that. Oh, what's happening? Like people, unruly, rowdy people, they just want to storm in and get in. And a lot of people took advantage and went inside the festival. Honestly, guys, I wish I could blame this on the pandemic. Well, portions of the pandemic, I blame it because, people, for some reason, after the pandemic, we're still in a pandemic, but after, the staying home and shit, people just went back shit crazy all of a sudden. Like, on the news, you hear people getting arrested for the stupidest thing. And you're like, dude, what the fuck? Why would you do such a thing? Like, people get into fights on airplanes. Domestic fights. On airplanes, inside the airplanes, to the point that flight attendants are getting punched by these fucking passengers. There you go. They're getting punched. They get into fights because people don't want to put their fucking mask. Look, despite whatever everybody thinks about the vaccine, guys, if you walk into a private establishment and they're telling you, put on your fucking mask and make sure your mask is still on, put it on, or else you're gonna get kicked out. Simple as that. Just follow the goddamn rules, whether you like it or not. Even I don't like the fucking mask. I hate the mask. I hate putting it on the work, but I have to because I have to follow the rules. My work tells me you have to have a mask when you're at work. Okay, I gotta put it. Why? I'm not gonna put it so I can risk losing my job? Of course not. Same goes to on these airplanes. Everybody's fighting over this stupid shit. Like, seriously, everybody is like going nuts, loco, ever since this shit went like, all right, we're getting back to normal. We ain't getting back to normal anytime soon. And now this is even worse. This is just like climbing up crap. But like I said earlier, seeing this is not the first time I've ever seen this because it has happened in plenty of EDM festivals. Difference between the EDM festivals and this one is that I'm pretty sure the EDM festivals took the precise measures to deal with it in the moment and make sure that it does not happen again. And I'm pretty sure these people didn't take those measures. We're about to find out more.
Lists specific injuries for his clients, but says they were seriously and permanently injured. In the docs, Travis and Live Nation are also accused of failing to warn fans of safety risks and failing to provide appropriate medical staff at the event. Roberts is suing for negligence and wants an unspecified amount of damages for both of his clients. The exact timeline of all events that led to the fatalities remains unclear. Still, attendee videos and testimonies posted to social media indicate that fans were being crushed in the overly crowded space as fans surged towards the stage during Travis Scott's performance. The Houston police chief was so concerned about crowd control at the Astroworld Festival that he went to Travis Scott's trailer to express concern over the energy in the crowd. TMZ also reported
Wait, so the chief of police actually went to the trailer and let Travis know, it's like, hey, shit's getting wild. And they didn't stop the show? Okay.
Sources connected to Travis say that the chief never told Travis to pull the plug on the show. Furthermore, the sources say that Travis was never told to stop the show before 10:10 p.m., more than an hour after the show began, via his in-ear device, noting that the fire marshal was also mum on stopping the performance. In a statement posted to Twitter, Travis wrote, "I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the families and all those impacted by what happened at Astroworld Festival. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into the tragic loss of life. I'm committed to working together with the Houston community to heal and support the families in need. Thank you to Houston PD, Fire Department, and NRG Park for their immediate response and support. Love you all. In a video posted to his Instagram story, Travis says that he's working with the city of Houston, local police, and the fire department to figure out what went wrong. As for why he didn't stop the show, Travis explained, anytime I can make out anything that's going on, I stop the show and help them get the help that they need. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation.
I just want to send out prayers to the...
I just want to point out something that, yeah, as a performer, you don't know what's going on because I'm telling you guys, from my experience, when I'm performing, I'm in my zone. Like, I don't even know what's going on outside of my crowd. Honestly, I'm literally focused on my shit, on my craft, on my zone, and I'm just DJing the whole night. I don't know what's going on for her, so I can relate to he didn't know what was going on. I can relate to that. That being said, there are times in which I catch a breath and then I see what's the reaction of the crowd and see where the crowd is at. So if I manage to catch a breath, and that's coming from me, a DJ, a dubstep producer, which we all know everything is all build up, drop, build up, drop, build up, drop. All right, make a space, build up, drop, build up, drop, build up, make a space, you know? I can catch a breath and see what's going on with the crowd. I'm pretty sure he had plenty of opportunity to see what's up. But anyways, before I actually go on, why is he on a filter, on a black and white filter? That's I don't know. That's odd to me.
To the ones that was lost last night, we're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, you know, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely. Closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The city of Houston, HPD, fire department, everyone help us figure this out. So if you have any information,
like does he have a headache?
Please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
All right, I'm gonna stop right there for a moment. For the listeners who are listening from Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. So Travis Scott basically did an IG stories explaining the situation and what's going on and what is he doing. That's what you heard right now. A few things that I wish you guys could actually see. If you want to see it, come to my channel, the Lone Wolv Podcast at YouTube, and you'll be able to see it, or lonewolfpod.com, either way. A few pointers that kind of rubbed me the wrong way on his apology. His apology doesn't sound very sincere. It sounds very scripted. He's trying his best, Wilson. Why are you being so hard on him? No, you're right. I mean, he is addressing the situation, and I'm glad that he's actually addressing it and doing something about it. I'm glad that he's actually working along with Houston PD and the fire department and the promoting company Live Nation and yada, yada, yada. Like, I'm happy that he's actually working and he's being very cooperative. I hope he actually gets to resolve this in a timely manner, That being said, the IG isn't the place for you to express your apology. I don't know. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but maybe do it live. Okay, sure. Fine. IG, okay. If you're going to do an IG, make sure you don't have a filter, because he had a filter on. He had a black and white filter for no apparent reason. Oh, it's to mourn for those who lost. Or okay, you can still mourn them without having the fucking filter. Just be you. You don't need to add a fucking filter on top of it. Second of all, He keeps moving around. When you're making an apology, you're making an apology on a standstill. Like you stand still. You don't move around like the way he was moving around with his cell phone, like what everybody does when they're recording on their IGs and TikToks and shit or whatnot. Like just stand still, bro. Stop moving. Stop fucking around. Stand still. Record what you need to record. Say what you gotta say. If you have to move your hands, move your hands. That's fine. But stand still. Stop moving around the fucking cell phone because it was getting me nauseous. Third of all, he keeps putting his hand in his face and he keeps putting like, fists about it. Like it felt like he was trying to cry because he was trying so much to be emotional about it, but it looked so fake. It looked so fake. Like I can tell that this looks very scripted. I can tell. And it probably is because his PR, he's trying to save his face, in a good way. But still, like, it doesn't show any emotions. He's just feeling like dull about it. Like he feels like, ugh. And one last thing that actually caught my attention was I never wanted this to happen. I never expected this to happen. Something like that around there. For those of you who don't know about Travis Scott's history, he tends to be very rowdy and he instigates the rowdiness to people. You're telling me you've never expected that something like this? Sure. You never expected for people to die. Absolutely. Nobody expects that. But expected like it would be this out of control. This was a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. This reminds me of the incident that he had 2015 on the festival, if I'm corrected. Like he made people in the front wall of the stage to tell everybody jump over and start going rowdy. Like go over the security guards. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? See, that's the type of behavior that instigates people. And he applauds that. He has a history of applauding that type of behavior, which is why it's not shocking for me to hear some of these things. It's sad, but it's not shocking because this was a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. He is very notorious about having rowdy festivals or rowdy shows or having his people to be very rowdy because he instigates that. He makes the people like, go for it. Yes, do it. It was disaster waiting to happen. But let's go on and finish this off.
Travis also canceled his headlining performance at this weekend's Day in Vegas festival as he's too distraught to play and revealed that he would provide full refunds for all attendees who bought tickets to Astroworld.
Nice,
I know there's been a lot of people on social media basically trying to like blame Travis for this. And I do think that there's definitely an extent to which he maybe could have been more careful, but I don't think people realize the extent to which when a performer like him does this kind of festival, I mean, he's not really involved with almost anything outside of his performance. Even the fact that it's his own festival, it's Astroworld. I mean, he hires companies to put this together. I think Travis is probably the last person I would be putting blame on, even if there are some clips that maybe look a little bit incriminating, like he maybe should have known what was going on.
Okay, there you go. Should Travis get the blame out of this? I have my thoughts about it. He definitely needs to be held accountable in some way or shape. Like, and Adam, you said it yourself. Like, there's clips of him, instigating and doing stuff, and there's tweets about it too. So yeah, I feel like he should have some sort of accountability about his actions. Mind you, he was arrested because of doing shit like this, and he got places. He's banned from places because of this type of behavior. So
regardless, I consider him to essentially be a victim in all this as well, because imagine
no, wait, what? Nani? What? No, bro, I'm sorry. I have to disagree with you on that part. He is definitely not a victim. He is definitely not. He's the enabler. What are you talking about, Adam? He's definitely the enabler. I mean, he didn't enable the fact that people die. Of course, I'm not saying that he enabled them to die. Or wanted to die. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he's the enabler that led the results of people dying. Because it all starts one thing led to another. A domino effect, a cause and effect. If this shit happens, these are the consequences. Fortunately, the consequences were 8 people dying and a bunch of more getting injured. He ain't no victim. He is not a saint in all this. I'm sorry, Adam. You are wrong in that part.
Trauma that he's dealing with from just knowing that he's out there performing these songs, his life's work, and then he's got people dying, his own fans dying in the audience in his hometown. I mean, this is a terrible situation, and I just feel horrible for the families involved. Obviously, for Travis, this is just going to be a huge thing in his career that he's going to be dealing with for who knows how long. And I really feel for the families. I'm sure Travis is going to be getting his ass sued for years to come for things related to this. I just hopefully can see this becoming a way that people will maybe be a little bit smarter about how they put these festivals together, because this is definitely something that could have been avoided. But my thoughts are with Travis and everybody who's involved with this, because this is a terrible situation.
It is definitely a terrible situation that it just happened, but I disagree on him, that last part that he was saying, like Travis is a victim in all this. Like, no chance in hell am I gonna put Travis as the victim. Is like, nah, bro. Like, Adam, what the fuck, bro? Have you heard Travis Scott? Have you heard his music? His hit song, Antidote, was about taking pills, getting high, doing drugs. Antidote, that's his smash hit. That's what jump-started his career. What are you talking about? He's, like I said, he's an enabler. Nah, I'm sorry. I agree with some of the parts that Adam 22 said, but I disagree on that part that he's saying that he's not, that he's a victim. Like, no, he's definitely not a victim. He's the enabler. He's the one who instigated and started this whole shitty mess. And he could have stopped it. He had the power. If he was aware of. If he was aware, he could have had the power. And during the concert, he could have stopped it too. I have my thoughts about it. We're just going to move on to finish this up very quickly. We got Abba and Preach with their recent reacting about the situation. We're going to hear this. Now, this might be much more interesting. Let's take a look, guys.
New information has come out in regards to the tragedy that happened in Astroworld, as well as Travis Scott.
Oh.
And me having looked up a lot of this information, people ask me what my thoughts are, whether my thoughts have changed. And let me tell you, I am now 100% sure that Travis Scott bears zero responsibility. I mean, this man.
What? Really?
No,
what?
Of course not.
I was like,
these people about to lose their fucking mind. You fucking asshole.
Yeah, I was about to lose my mind for a moment here. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're telling me Travis Scott has no responsibility about it? And good thing he made that quick joke.
There's blood on your hands. Breathe, okay? What I think is really important to this, that I don't think it's referenced enough, and I think it's like really damning in a way.
Live Nation was behind this event. They were the ones who were organizing the vast majority of it in
I don't like Live Nation. That's a
working
bad
with
reputation.
Travis Scott, and their company has a horrendous record. They are linked to over 200 deaths at their events, over 750 injuries, as well as dozens of safety violations at their music events. Now we have to ask ourselves, now one could say that Travis may bear a lot of blame because of the fact that he worked with the largest,
I didn't know that,
largest live events company in the world. But
Jesus,
at the same time, these people need to be held to account as well.
Travis has 2 prior incidents in regards to inciting people at his shows.
What I said earlier, guys, he has a history of inciting violence. He has a history of inciting people getting rowdy on his shows. I said it earlier. We're about to check even more.
One happened in 2015. Travis Scott pled guilty
I said earlier in 2015, I knew it.
Court supervision for 1 year, encouraged fans to mosh pit at Lollapalooza in Chicago, and he encouraged them to vault over the security barriers.
Fair use.
Don't you come off, let's go. They're not going to stop you, Mike, get down there. Everybody that you see, grab him. Everybody that you see, grab him. He got you. They're not going to stop you. Let's go. Hey. Don't you handle them like that. Let them the fuck go. Everybody in the green shirt, get the fuck back.
What the
He's
fuck?
telling security, get the fuck back. Don't touch the people vaulting over the fence.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know how trap people get this stupid route
Rogers, Arkansas. Travis Scott's accused again of inciting a riot, urging crowd members to rush the stage. Several people were injured. Arrested and pled guilty to disorderly conduct and ordered to pay court fees and restitution to the people, to the 2 injured people. And then once again, Bird's Eye View tour in New York City. Wow. Fan Kyle Green injured and left paralyzed after jumping off a balcony. Travis Scott yelled to him, "I see you, but are you going to do it?" as he neared the edge of the railing. "They're going to catch you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared." The man did it and ended up becoming paralyzed. Kyle filed a lawsuit against Travis.
No. Maybe it's because I'm able to be like, no, I'm not going to fucking jump off the fucking rail. And I do it. It's stupid to me. I understand that you have some kind of responsibility, but you're on a ledge. They're going to catch you. They're going to catch you. Jump. It's like, why would you trust him? Like, what does he know? You know, why did you jump? It's like, why? Because he asked? Because he's Travis and he asked? Okay.
I mean, more than that, there's hundreds of thousands of people all surrounding you. Everyone's looking at you. You're not used to that limelight. Your favorite artist tells you to do something, you're going to do it.
Porn ABBA.
They'll tell you go twerk, then they go twerk.
Porn ABBA.
You feel me? This brings us to this year's Astroworld. And now, obviously, now you've got 50,000 people. There's a huge show happening. Travis is yelling at the crowd. It's high energy. And look, Travis's shows are always like that, apparently. From what I've been able to read up on, his shows are high energy. It's very like anarchist type of a vibe. People love the idea of being violent and rowdy at the shows. And undoubtedly, when you love that rebellious energy, and when you're telling people to jump over barricades, when you tell people to rush the stage, people are going to get hurt. As much as you want to show people a great experience, people's safety and well-being also matters throughout the whole experience. You have to understand that, and you have to be responsible for that. If I was security, if I was an event organizer, I'd be suing the fuck out of Travis for things like that. Putting my people, my staff in danger because he wants to create a hype moment and have people jump over, that's crazy.
I agree. I 100% agree with Abba. Like I said earlier, Adam, 22, you are wrong. Do not believe that Travis is a victim in all this because no, he has a history. And I'm gonna keep repeating myself until I become a broken record. I don't give a shit. People, Travis Scott has a history of this shit, of instigating. And as the company of a promotion, if I see an artist doing this type of shit behavior, endangering the safety and lives of not only my attendees or my customers or my clients, but also my employees, my workers, my security guards, my waitresses, my bartenders, my lighting crew, my sound crew, like everybody, if he instigates this stuff and is endangering the lives of people, I will sue them too. Like, fuck him. Why does he have to be so rowdy about it? Why does he have to instigate it? There are other rappers out there in the world who are way better than Travis Scott, and their show goes hard and the music is amazing, and they don't incite that level of violence. Not even that high. Like, Jesus. Yeah.
If you're one of those security guards, you will set up that railing, that perimeter for safety reasons. You do it not just for your safety, for the people in the back. Because people who are jumping over that railing are not close to you. If they got weapons, if they got whatever, it puts everybody in danger. There's a different kind of negligence that comes in when I see that kind of stuff. So you have that entire history and you come to this event and you constantly encourage that kind of energy. It carries over. And now you have people in an extra vulnerable state. Go ahead.
I'm from both perspectives. I'm from the perspective of a performer that performs on stage. I'm from the perspective of a security guard that has to face that. There's a lot of nightmares that security guards at these shows face.
Yep.
And that is not talked about. When an artist decides to go in the crowd, prior to that, you have to ask security. You have to, or be in contact with the security so that we know what the fuck is going on. We have to mobilize people because a lot of things happen. You know, whenever there's people event that are artists at event that are complaining about, well, they snatched my chain and stuff like that. Right. And I look at the footage and the person's like, I'm gonna go in the crowd because I'm close to my people, and they go in the crowd. Yes, these things happen and stuff like that. So you have to be you have to talk with the security. I looked up after the video we did. I looked up a couple of shows. There's a couple of instances where the shows of Travis where he says to people to fuck shit up. I'm not saying that the people there do not have a responsibility, but that's his show. He's telling people to fuck shit up. He has a responsibility for that. So it's not so much a control the chat. People have accountability. Yeah, people don't have to necessarily do it, but there's this crowd effect that's happening that you have. So he definitely has responsibility like that. Absolutely. You know, when you ask people to go in a crowd or to move a certain way. Yes, there's this whole thing where you're supposed to MC the crowd, where you're supposed to be the master of ceremony. You're supposed to entertain the crowd and stuff like that. But there's some things that, especially in hip hop, there's a lot of things like that happen that can go overboard. I'm thinking about hip hop. Yes, you know, the mosh pit and stuff like that. But I've seen shows from Slipknot, which is another band that does metal, that it goes out of hand. Because it's like a moment that you want to replicate, that it's anarchy and you want to replicate all that, and it's all based in fun and everything and stuff. You as an artist, you pack your shit, you go home and that's it. But people in the crowd that just want to watch the show and don't necessarily want to do that. I've seen another show, I don't want to put people out there, but I've seen another show where I was outside of the people in the middle, and the artist on top asked people to mosh pit, open a circle, this side and this side.
This sounds more like the Dubstep.
I've seen that in
this sounds more of our area.
So, yeah, there's definitely, it's your name on the brand, it's you on the stage, you have some, and you do certain things to the crowd like that. You ask the crowd to vault over or whatever. There's going to be some kind of responsibility that you're going to have with that. It's a mess. It's a whole mess.
I will say, I will push back a little bit on his bit. Not that I say what he said was wrong. No, it is true. Everything that he said about, you know, in the perspective as an artist, as a performer, or in the perspective as a security guard or someone that works there, you know, like I've been on all positions, so I understand his perspective, and it is true. Now, the thing that I'm gonna push back is maybe Slipknot is like that, but I've worked as a live sound engineer and as a lighting sound for a couple of metal rock bands and shows and events and festivals, and they're like the most chillish people ever. You would think that, you know, that type of music, they will go super rough with each other, but in reality, they're super chill. And if they do go into mosh pit and shit, believe it or not, they're very respectful about everyone's boundaries. They're very respectful. They made sure that nobody gets hit out of nothing. It's weird. Same goes with dubstep. Same goes in the EDM world when we, in the dubstep scene, you know, when we have these type of mosh pits, like, say what you want to say about dubstep, but there's a level of respect and there is a level of control. And when mosh pits do happen, like, everybody made sure that everybody can get up. Like, everybody made sure that they're doing okay. I've seen it. I've seen it happening so many times. Like, I see mosh pit people going like crazy, but at the end of the day, they made sure everybody's okay. They don't pass that line of boundary, you know, when it becomes way too crowded, you know. People will stop at that point, you know. But yeah.
One thing I think is a giant mistake whenever things like these happen, right? There's such an emphasis put on the big name star at all times, right? This guy's the face of it, bang, bang. And I think it doesn't do justice to the people who really suffered, because accountability means putting the blame where it needs to be appropriately, not where it's most convenient. We say Travis Scott because he's the name and he's the big person. And if he pays, then we can all see some change happen. When I can assure you, when you work a big show like that, Travis Scott doesn't know shit about the security. Travis Scott doesn't know shit about the layout of the whole thing. They are never briefed on these things. They hire other people who handle it. Now, of course, when you hire people, you're always going to have some level of accountability. But understand, there's people who 150% failed at their job.
Yeah.
Failed. When the police department declares that there's a mass casualty at this place, immediately that information needs to be relayed to Live Nation, who was in charge of this festival, right? And they need to just cut the plug, because you are trusting other people to handle their parts. If there's a disturbance on the left wing and there's a mass stabbing, the artist is not going to know. He's counting on security to figure that out. And then they're supposed to relay to him, cut the plug, right? Now, that doesn't mean that Travis doesn't have accountability. We've said throughout this whole thing, 100%, there's a large measure of it. But you have to understand, there are failures systematically at every level that happen when something like this happens.
Yep.
And to levy it on Travis, to put all the focus on him, does an injustice to the people who really suffered. Because the people who are really, really at fault are not going to get held up as accountable as they should be. So we as people, when we're watching this, cannot just look at the big name person to be levied all the blame. We have to look at, Live Nation. I'm also going to say this. While we're having this whole discussion, you also have to place a tremendous amount of accountability on the people who didn't seem to give a fuck about other folks who were dying right next to them.
Yes.
The people who didn't have enough consideration to try to make a path for people who were suffering. The folks who wanted to be more concerned with raging than their own neighbors.
So
There's
true.
also a certain amount of accountability there. I think when it comes to these kind of events, we always look to creators. We always look to the organizers. Undoubtedly,
I agree. I'm gonna stop that for one moment, but I wholeheartedly agree. Like, at what point do we become human again? Honestly, because the slogan may be a very cliche, but seriously, if you see something, say something. If you see something fucked up, do something about it. Like, if you're legit seeing somebody getting trampled, help them. At least make an attempt to help them. You could have probably saved that person's lives if you interfere for a bit. But I get it. The many people say, like, nah, I'm not getting involved with that, bro, because I'm risking my life. I get that selfish behavior. I'm not gonna knock that down. That is a valid reason. But then again, if you see the level of how severe the shit is getting, you're just gonna go ahead and walk around and ignore it. Now, I'm saying this to the good people who has a clear conscience. Now, to all the fucked up people out there who needs to simmer down and come back to earth, yeah, you guys need to have a reality check with your fucking lives, because you guys are a bunch of trash people. Breaking into a festival without paying, trampling people, pushing people, getting lit and going for the viral moments and shit. Seeing somebody getting fucked up, it's like, oh shit, getting fucked up, look, TikTok viral, oh. Yeah, you motherfuckers better come back down, because karma's gonna bite you back in the ass. Those are the motherfuckers that you should watch out. Because if they're like that on a show, imagine how they are on an everyday basis. You motherfuckers who are like that, check yourself, because you're not gonna last long in life if you're gonna continue like this. Life is gonna come back and knock you on the door and say, yo, what's up? Time to pay up. Just saying. Karma's a bitch, you know? You motherfuckers need to humble yourself and come back to earth.
they deserve some measure of accountability, if not the lion's share. But you as individuals also have to say, you played a role in that. Mm-hmm. When someone's struggling right next to you, falling to the ground, and you just being concerned about trying to get as close to the stage as possible, you play a part in that. We can't always look upwards in regards. We can also look sideways. Because I can assure you, put in a different crowd with a different set of people, the results could have been drastically different.
What do you mean?
Not all crowds would have behaved like that, irrespective of what artist is on stage.
Fair.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is like that in the EDM world. A lot of EDM shows, they respect each other. And if they see somebody getting fucked up, they will help out. I see this happening. And it's so funny. I say that because I have a lot of people outside of the EDM world that criticize my genre, that criticize the EDM industry as a whole. Oh, it's a bunch of rowdy people, frat boys, a lot of futs taking pills and going to these shows and whatnot. That's just like the 5% of the people you're talking about. The 95% are like the most peaceful, loving people in the entire world. And all they want to do is just enjoy the time and listening to their favorite artist set and dance away and forget about the realities of the troubles that they're having and just be on a state of euphoria to be happy, They are very respectful. And trust me, those people, they do see it. Despite of what everybody tells them about, EDM and, for drug people. It's like, well, tell you what, guys, what happened to this trap show with Travis Scott? Oh, okay. Oh, it's tragic. It's like, oh yeah, it's tragic, right? But then again, he's been doing this for years and been notorious about it. Stop talking shit about the industry, about the EDM industry, and take a look at other people's industry. They all get as rowdy as it can, Not everybody's innocent in all this. But what I'm trying to get to is that, the majority of the shows that I worked with, performed, and participated, I see a lot of love in the EDM community. I see that a lot. And if that was another situation, they would legit stop, be like, yo, chill. This person's down. Help me out. And people will just stop and they'll help out.
I understand.
A lot of people act completely differently based off what kind of crowd. We know this. I know this because we go to nightclubs. The crowd changes, right? You could have the same DJ set depending on who shows up, right? So you also have to look at that there.
Well, sorry.
And it's hard to do that, and it's not nearly as interesting, or there's no like catharsis because it's just a sea of people, right? It's a question mark. You don't have any faces. Travis Scott is a face and name you could point to and you can Twitter at. But the individuals also have to ask themselves, like, what's going on here? Dude, you know what's crazy? Maybe this is also just me. What the is a 10-year-old doing at a concert like that? Am I crazy?
Wait, what? There was a 10-year-old in that Travis Scott concert? Where the fuck is that 10-year-old's parents? How the fuck would they allow it? And if the parents were there with the 10-year-old, shitty parents on your part. My first concert was probably like 15 with my parents. And then I went back again to a few other concerts when I was 17 and 18. But I was already mature enough to be on them. What the fuck?
My parents would have never. Instead, the first time I went to a concert, I was old. You understand?
Yeah.
10 years old, because, it's his favorite artist and stuff like that. Yeah. Nah. There's people that bring their kids. Listen, to each their own. Working in concert, I did a whole bunch of jobs, right? You already know that. Got to pay the bills. You got to, and I remember there was Asiaga. There was one time I was working at Asiaga. I was serving alcohol. You know, the motherfuckers that passing through the crowd with the alcohol like that.
Yeah.
Kids. Yeah. Eminem was on stage. Yeah. Kids. Eminem has it. The amount of people that listen to Eminem ranges from small to very old, but the lyrics, I'm like, ooh.
That's true. I was very young when I listened to Slim Shady for the first time in my life. That I think Slim Shady happens to be my first single of Eminem, and from then on, I became an Eminem fan. Yeah, I was very young. I can test for that.
Ooh, goddamn. Yep. You know what I mean? Shit. But there was kids. Yep. I'd have to ask myself why Eminem. It's just like when it was all cute, that little girl that went to Ellen's show, and she was from the UK, her with a friend that doesn't talk, right? And they were a big fan of Nicki Minaj, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's so cute." And I was like,
"Yeah."
It's like that's not the only song that Nicki Minaj sings, And Nicki Minaj has a song about anaconda.
To me, it's not even the content of the music, though. To me, it's the environment of the festival where people are laced with all kinds of drugs. And you guys might not understand this, but festivals are abundant with people overdosing, dealers who are present. Right?
Yeah.
Why do you think they have all those paramedics there? Why do you think they have all those bays?
Because Americans are not really healthy.
Yep.
Wrong answer.
It's because people are popping stuff.
Oh.
And you add overheating, right? Yeah. Dehydration to that. Well, it's a deadly cocktail.
The first thing is sun. Then there's heat. Then there's alcohol, but not in that order.
So why kids? It's like you wouldn't bring kids to a bar, but you're gonna let them go to a music festival. Yeah, man. There's crazy footage out there of the whole thing. But anyways, I'm not gonna stay too long on this. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think most of the blame goes to? Should kids be allowed at these festivals? What about Live Nation? Why is there no more conversation about that? Is our assessment wrong? Let us know why. We want to hear from you guys.
Shout out to Abba and Preach and No Jumper, Adam 22 for their content. I appreciate them giving me a chance to react on them and their thoughts. And as well, the reason why I actually went to those pages is because they had substantial, like a big, good summary of the situation with Travis Scott. And I just want to be with my facts right. Want to know that, this is exactly what happened based on what they're saying. I read about it. Like, I don't give that much importance to Travis Scott or anybody in the trap world because I have my strong feelings with that trap scene. Like, even in the EDM trap, I believe like every trap producer is rowdy as fuck. Like, number one rowdy is Carnage, and I don't like him, but he brings people out. Like, something about trap music itself, like, it brings the nasty out of people, and shit. Like that Travis Scott concert, that was a shit show overall. What are my thoughts in all this? We need to held accountable for Travis Scott because we need to tell him, dude, we love your energy, but now you gotta chill the fuck down. Like if you wanna hype people, that's fine, but do not be enabler of violence. Do not instigate violence. Do not make people go violent about it, because you're held accountable. At first, I was actually feeling bad for him, because like shit, like your festival, your show, and somebody die on you. Well, like 8 people die on you, and many are injured. Like shit, that sucks. But then after I remember, it's like, wait a minute, he has some history of it, and it was a very reassuring that Aber and Preach bring those other shows that he was very rowdy about it, and it just makes me like, oh, again, like. It was a ticking time bomb waiting to happen, basically. Travis Scott should be held accountable, because even though he didn't mean for those people to die, it was an act of violence by accident. But if he didn't enable those people that want to jump in and break the rails and push in without paying the ticket, I've heard oversold out concert. So it's already at max capacity, and these people want to just jump in and go through. If he didn't instigate that, probably all of this could have been avoided. But he did, so he needs to be held accountable in some way of degree. Somebody on his team needs to say like, "Yo, from here now on your career, you're no longer gonna be doing like this, even if you lose fans." Like, no, because how many more blood are you gonna wash off? Like seriously, Live Nation, I heard lots of bad stories about Live Nation, how shitty they are nationwide in the concerts, how shitty the people really are in Live Nation, and they need to be held accountable. Absolutely. My thoughts and prayers to the family victims. You know, like it's tragic, you know, that you had to lose a loved one because they wanted to go to a concert and they just want to have some fun, and they die under these bad circumstances. Like it's horrible. It's horrible that it had to go like that. What else is there to me to say? All I can say is like, guys, if you see something, say something. If you see something fucked up, do something about it. Like just do it, honestly, because it's fucked up to see somebody die in front of you and you not doing anything, and you just, you know, taping and video chatting, you know, going, just to be viral, just to be alive. Like, how many more kids have to die because of these stupidities? Like, I feel like every generation is getting dumber and dumber. And I put some blame on the parents, because this is bad parenting on their part for having these people getting riled up like that, like having them getting influenced by people like Travis to getting riled up and do crazy shit like that. Of course. They tell you, like I said, I heard Eminem on a very young age. But my parents, they made sure that you can't listen to him until you understand what it means or understand what was going on. Oh, my parents were very strict. They're very strict about the stuff that I listen and what I do, or the things I mean, I grew up when the internet was popping. AOL, dial-up, shit. They paid super close attention because it was a technology that nobody know how it works. And I was very fast learning how to use a computer and how to work the dial-up and shit. And they were surprised. And they had to keep an eye on me to make sure I don't get very influenced by shit like that. And they had to sit down and talk and tell me some of these stuff. Some accountability has to go to those parents. And of course, the people who are a bunch of shitty assholes needs to be held accountable in some shape or way. People who actually started the whole rile up and mosh pits and just climbing up on ambulances, cars, and breaking into, trampling people just to break in and enter a concert for free. Like, yeah, all those people need to be held accountable. But it's very hard when you have so many cameras that you can have one person, you know, like it's very hard. But my thoughts and prayers. And yeah, Travis Scott needs to be held accountable for this situation. He's Adam 22. I disagree with you very hardly. He is not a victim. He's definitely an enabler. He started all of this. Like, he is well known about this. Okay, so you better check your sources, and you better check the people that you're mentioning on your podcast, because it's very important. That needs to be held accountable. That needs to be and talk about. Like, don't tell me like someone who has a history of violence, but he's not violent. He's the victim. The fuck? The fuck does that mean? It's the same thing. Like, no, like he needs to be held accountable. Live Nation should be held accountable of this as well, because it's they're risking the lives of many people. We'll see. I mean, lawsuits, pretty sure this is pretty much what's gonna be for Travis Scott. I don't know what's gonna happen with his future, but yeah, there will be a lot. There will be a lot of court cases in regards to Knife Nation and Travis Scott. Word of advice for everybody: don't be this idiot. If you're gonna go and have some fun, just be safe about it. Be responsible about it. Do not be a fucking idiot and do these type of shitty behaviors. I repeat, I do not tolerate that violence. I do not tolerate that behavior. I condone that, if that's the right word. Like, this is not it. If you guys don't like it, me saying that, then fucking unfollow me. I don't give a shit. You're not a fan of mine if you actually are part of this or do this type of behavior. No. I'm sorry, not in my channel. I'm sorry. What's going on, everyone? We have a small little update to the victims of the ones who have passed away in this past weekend for Travis Scott's Astroworld disaster that really happened. But also, I'm also giving you guys a little video. You guys should check it out on Inside Edition, a video of what happens and what you gotta do when you go on a crowd like this. Tips about it, like if anybody wants to go on a festival, counter something similar like that, here's some of the steps. So let's go ahead and share it out right now to you guys. Here we go.
Houston say they did have an emergency plan in the event of a mass casualty event, but clearly they were overwhelmed. So what could you do to stay safe? Well, a critical rule of thumb is the minute you go in, know how you would get out, especially any place that a huge crowd that turns into a panic could become deadly. Jim Murray spoke with one of the nation's leading experts on crowd control.
How could it go so horribly wrong? I spoke to crowd safety expert Paul Wertheimer.
When you start seeing surges and crowd crushes, you want to stop the show, reduce the crowd density. It might mean reducing how many people are in the area and give everybody a chance to regroup.
Like, a lot of festivals do this a lot. Like, most of them do it, like, in Europe? They do this a lot more, especially Glastonbury. I think that's the name of the area they do the festivals. They get, like, overly packed, like, around 100,000. And there are times in which they have to divide it because it's just too much. But they do divide it, and they do a little crowd control out of it. I mean, yeah, like, they need to do that from here on every fucking festival and music event, no matter what.
Travis Scott shows are known for tumultuous energy and boisterous physical activity. In 2017, the rapper was charged with inciting a riot after he encouraged concertgoers to rush the stage at a show in Arkansas.
And Adam 22 saying that, oh no, he's a victim. Like, fuck out of here, Adam. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I wholeheartedly disagree with that shit, bro. Like this is a pattern behavior. Like, once I forgive you, more than 2 times, it's already a pattern, and this is how you are, like, get out of here.
Pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. Of course. Wertheimer says there are things you can do to survive if you find yourself in a stampede, like Astroworld.
If possible, you try to move your feet into a position like a boxer to give you greatest stability.
So like side to side or
like
front
this,
to back?
one foot in front of the other.
If you can move your arms,
if
what do you
can, you put them in front of your chest.
Okay, to protect my chest.
To protect your lungs.
Give it a little buffer.
Give some space, a buffer, as best you can.
Another tip, don't scream.
Don't use up your oxygen. Don't yell and scream for help. Nobody can hear you.
We're also learning new details of the fans who lost their lives in the disaster. 14-year-old John Hilgert was the youngest victim. He was a star high school baseball player. Brianna Rodriguez, 16, was a high school junior who loved to dance. Franco Patino, 21, was an engineering student at the University of Dayton. His best friend, 20-year-old Jacob Jurinke, also died. This was 21-year-old Alex Acosta's first music festival. Danish Beg, 27, died trying to save his fiancée in the crush. Rudy Pena, 23, was studying criminology at a college in Laredo. Madison Dubisky, also 23, was a former high school cheerleader. Lives lost much too soon, and according to our expert, the tragedy could have been avoided.
The tragedy at the Astroworld Festival was a preventable disaster.
Piling up in the wake of that deadly concert in Houston, Travis Scott and concert promoter Live Nation are among those named in at least 18 lawsuits. Wow. 8 people were killed, more than 24 injured, including a 9-year-old little boy who was in a medically induced coma. Now, did any of this have to happen? Stephen Fabian reports.
Wait, well, hold on. Stop right there. Stop. A 9-year-old kid is in coma. What? Yo, child services, get that kid. I don't care. Get that kid, separate that from the family, from that kid's parents. Fuck them. Who the fuck brings a 9-year-old kid, to a concert like this? The fuck is wrong with you? How did even security let it happen? There's a reason why we put age limits to all these fucking festivals. You can only be this old to get in. Like, what the fuck, bro? Oh no, this is some bullshit. Oh no, this is wow.
Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena is pointing a finger at Travis Scott for not stopping the show.
He can certainly pause that performance, turn on the lights, and say, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this thing is resolved."
But crowd safety expert Paul Wertheimer tells Inside Edition the authorities should have closed the show down.
The fire marshal or the police have a duty to the community and to the visitors who come into that community to look after their safety and welfare. It's their job. The buck stops there.
But Travis Scott has a long record of revving up his fans. Watch what happened when one fan tried to steal his sneakers at a concert in 2015 while he was crowd surfing.
I see you, boy. You gonna do it.
At a concert in New York City in 2017, Scott encouraged one fan to drop 2 stories off a balcony.
Oh my God. Don't tell me this is the guy who stupidly jumped from the rails. Oh, I haven't seen this fucking video. Oh, wait a minute.
That fan made it, but another fan at the same concert, 27-year-old Kyle Green, fell and was paralyzed.
Jesus, but still.
New video shows harrowing scenes at the center of the deadly crush in Houston that ended with 8 people dead. Someone tries to call 911. You can see the chaos as fans are trampled. Ezra Blunt, who is only 9 years old, is in a coma after being trampled.
No way.
Like this little tyke, Ezra was sitting on his father's shoulders during the concert. His grandfather spoke to KTRK-TV.
My son couldn't breathe because of all the pressure that was being applied to him, and he passed out. And when he passed out,
the little one fell down.
And he was trampled really bad.
Travis Scott claims he wasn't aware of the severity of the situation while he was on stage. He and promoter Live Nation say they are working with authorities. The police chief says they didn't stop the show sooner because they were worried about rioting.
Oh my God, that's the lowest bullcrap I've ever heard in my life. Wow. A fucking 9-year-old kid is in a coma right now because a parent decided to bring that fucking 9-year-old kid to the show. That's just stupid. Wow. I blame everybody in all this. There's no champion in all this, unfortunately. Like, there isn't. Probably the people that were helping other people. I blame Travis Scott for inciting this type of behavior and rewarding this type of behavior. I blame him. And it's because of that led to right now. His pattern became a ticking time bomb. It was only a matter of time until that time bomb just go boom. And it just landed this weekend. I blame Travis because of his history and his repeated patterns of doing this shit. So I blame him. Adam22, fuck you for saying that he's a victim. He ain't no victim. He's definitely part of the problem. I blame Live Nation because they say that there was a contingency plan and all this, and they failed about it. They failed. So I definitely blame them. They should get a massive lawsuit for everybody. Fuck yeah. Fuck them. I blame the 40s, like the fire chief and the Houston police. I blame them too because any given time, they could have literally stopped the show because they have the power to do that. but because it's like, oh, we didn't do it because it might cause a riot, and this is better? This is better. But what the hell do I know? Rest in peace to all those fallen victims. They were too young. Like, shit, a 14-year-old kid, and another guy who was 21 years old. That was his first festival, his first and last festival, basically. I'm pretty sure he was so excited to go, and then that was his last one. Last one before we go. That's fucking messed up, bro. That's fucking messed up. And the fiance saving the guy saved his fiance from it. So she survived and he couldn't because they were stepping on and he was getting crushed. Young people, bro. Like, they were too young, man. Rest in peace to all those people. Travis Scott, you either retire from music or do something different about your music. Like, you can't be doing this anymore. Like, you can't be, because if he goes again to another concert and does the same bullshit as he did, he never learned. He was never like forgiven about it. He couldn't care less about everybody. It's like, that's how it is. So he better change it up or do something. He's definitely gonna get whole accountability for this actions because of him inciting the whole situation. It could be all preventable, but we'll see what goes down. What do you guys think about this? Please leave a comment down below. Share your thoughts. Share your experiences. If you guys got a specific topic that you want me to cover, please let me know on the comments down below, and I'll make sure to cover it on the next episode. So please like and subscribe for your weekly episodes at The Lone Wolv Podcast for SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and of course the YouTube channel that we have right now, The Lone Wolv Podcast. That's right, guys. The Lone Wolv Podcast or lonewolfpod.com. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.